Good evening, everyone. As always, I am Vadim Perlovsky with the Virtual Tasting Society. Today, we are excited for our very first partnership with another establishment. We've partnered with Eureka Restaurants to talk about their whiskey club and talk about their barrel picks. Joining us today is the master behind all their barrel picks, Trevor Tyler. We're excited to pick his brain, see how he picks his barrels, and kind of get a glimpse of behind the curtain of this Eureka Whiskey Group that's famous, infamous, very popular. It's a topic of many discussions, and we're excited to kind of get deeper into it. But before we do that, we want to welcome all the regulars and a couple of new faces. Thank you very much for being here tonight. We're excited to see you. A couple of quick housekeeping things. We are here to get nerdy. We're here to ask questions. We're here to get all the information you possibly want. Surprise, surprise, we may have a Buffalo Trace representative on the call in a little bit. So if you have Buffalo Trace whiskey questions, we may be able to get those answered as well. But always please be respectful. Use the chat feature. If Trevor is comfortable with people unmuting themselves and participating on camera, please do. But we want to make sure that if you're not talking, keep yourself muted so that we don't get background noise, fire trucks going by, dogs barking, kids barking, and so on and so forth. Before we begin, today, majority of the group today is with the Los Angeles Whiskey and Spirits Guild. And joining us today is the president of Los Angeles Whiskey and Spirits Guild, David Donahue. David, you want to say a couple words?
Sure, be very happy to, Vadim. Thank you very much to you for all the work and effort that you put into bringing us these virtual tastings, and have been doing this for well over a year and probably almost 90 of them. So for all the regulars that are here, it's wonderful to see you again. For those faces that have taken a little bit of a hiatus, welcome back. Jane, you were traveling, so it's great to see you again. And as always, welcome to all the new people that haven't been here before. Just like Vadim said, keep yourself muted. Right, put something in the chat or take yourself off mute. Also, for people that we may not know, like the mystery man, if you're going to ask a question, it's always nice to be able to have your name kind of there so we can say, hi, yes, the question from mystery man. But we think we may know who he is. I'm not sure, but just in case, if you can have your name there, that'd be fantastic. Welcome, and really looking forward to this, Trevor, to learn a little bit more about how you do it.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for having me. Is the floor mine, Vadim?
Take it away, Trevor. It's all yours. Thank you, David.
Okay. Yeah, and highly encourage everyone else on the call. Feel free to unmute yourself and ask me questions. I cannot talk for 2 hours straight, so gonna need your help to kind of guide the call. And I'm here to be as transparent as possible. So you can pretty much ask me anything. I'll try my best to answer it. There are certain things that I can't reveal, like what picks are I'll be able to tell you like what we have coming up, but not like what month it's going to happen in, and I'll kind of explain the why behind that as well. So first of all, my name's Trevor Tyler. I'm the senior director of beverage operations for Eureka Restaurant Group. A little bit of background on me: I've been with Eureka for 10 years. I started in the Claremont location in 2011. Was a GM at a couple of the restaurants, and then took over the bar program in 2014. And have been running the bars for the company for the past 7 years now. Graduate of Cal Poly Pomona Collins College School of Hospitality, as part of the business college at Cal Poly Pomona. Yeah, big Dodger fan. Sorry, Craig. I know you're shaking your head. I've already seen your comment. I figured this was an LA-based whiskey, from what I would understand. So I thought we'd have the Dodger hat would be well accepted. But I see a few people giving the thumbs up. So looks like, oh, you got a Yankees fan. All right. But we're well versed today. Yeah. So I've been with Eureka for 10 years. Just been a wild ride this past year. A little bit of background on the Whiskey Club. I think when I like my second year with the company, we tried to start some type of like dine-in whiskey club where we had like, you know, the classic try everything on the menu, and you know, you get a t-shirt or something like that, and kind of just wasn't very well thought out, hard to organize. We had these like big binders with loose papers and people's names on them and like check marks. And so we've kind of always wanted to do something like this. We just never really knew how to do it. That lasted a few months, and we ended up abandoning the idea. And then when COVID hit, we said, well, exploring different avenues on what we can do to help generate sales. Obviously, sales in the restaurant were down significantly. And we said, oh, hey, what about this whiskey club idea that we've always said we wanted to do, but never really knew how to execute? And then with the laws loosening up and us being able to, with the Type 47 liquor license, now being able to sell full bottles of booze to go with purchase of food, we said, well, how can we do this? And we're like, okay, well, let's try to do something subscription based. The goal was always to do a lot of barrel picks. If you're part of any of the whiskey club groups that I'm on Facebook, I've been pretty transparent. I know if you followed our club at all, we did get a little bit of heat in the beginning because maybe we had some whiskeys that were more readily available. But the box was always meant to be kind of a discovery box for all whiskey lovers, from beginners to nerds, you know, people that geek out on whiskey like everyone I'm sure on this call. And we always wanted to do barrel picks. Unfortunately, COVID, the turnaround time on barrel picks ended up being much longer than what I would have liked. So we did have a few months there where we were putting in some, you know, whiskeys that were more readily available. But the goal was always to make the box a discovery box, with the whiskey being the main attraction, but also the add-ons that we have in there, the glassware, the beanies and hats that we've done in the past, the info cards. We do virtual tastings like this for our members. And then the food element, we always try to partner with a smaller, not well-known craft or snack company that, you know, we're not putting in a bag of Frito-Lays in these boxes. And for those of you, that aren't really familiar with the club, I mean, this is what the box looks like. This was our last box last month. So it just says the Whiskey Club on the back of it, or on the front of it, Eureka, obviously. And then each month you get like different snacks. And this past month was Whistle Pig. So we had a Whistle Pig Glencairn glass, and also a Whistle Pig Rocks glass. It had some pins and stickers. So, I mean, I'm sure everyone gets the idea. It's a kind of a discovery box. And we don't guarantee that every month is a barrel pick, but we're trying our best to make sure every month is a barrel pick. But again, we can't guarantee that. So there are months where we maybe are trying to just have like limited releases and not specifically barrel picks, but we're trying to have it for the, I'd probably say 60 to 70% of the time to have a barrel pick featured. I saw Fred Minnick post something yesterday about, I'm not sure if anybody else saw that, about barrel picks and, small restaurant companies. So yeah, barrel pick is, that's super competitive to get barrels right now. As a restaurant, a lot of these brands we've supported for years and years. So, we are in good standing with them and have supported them for a long time. So we're not just some company that's come in and saying, hey, I want all these barrels, and haven't been supporters of the brand. So just that was an interesting dialogue that Fred had opened up yesterday that I kind of wanted to comment on. And I'd be interested to hear other people's feedback as well. But yeah, that's kind of a synopsis of the club. And I guess, like I said, I encourage questions throughout, but I mean, before we start tasting here, is there any questions initially for me at all about?
I actually have a fun, interesting one that I think, just to get a pulse on this, is I'm curious how many people are actually members of the Eureka Whiskey Club.
That's a good question.
But bam. Ask it.
I couldn't get it. I guess I should click yes. I mean, I technically am.
You are technically a member, yeah.
Question, what's your process for picking? Like, is it you? Do you have like a group of people? Do you try to have it be the same people? And also, what are you looking for when you pick?
It's just me. Sometimes my wife, I'll ask her opinion, even though she's not a huge whiskey drinker. I'll kind of say, hey, I'm trying to decide between this and this. And I'll say, do you pick up this or am I going crazy? And she's got a pretty good palate, even though she doesn't drink. Yeah, it's pretty much just me. With COVID and stuff, we weren't really having a lot of in-person meetings. In the past, when we've done barrel picks, so we've done barrel picks even pre Whiskey Club. We would do barrel picks, and so one of the so sorry to go on a tangent here, but just so I thought of it. So what I look for, I guess, is just the best, the ones I think that taste the best. I kind of lean more towards I like more barrel character than less. So I'm looking for more oak characteristics, more uniqueness, I guess you could say. Like I want something that tastes a little bit different than what obviously it's going to taste pretty similar to, if I'm picking a Buffalo Trace barrel pick, it's going to taste like Buffalo Trace because it is, but I'm looking for something that's going to taste a little different than what you can just grab off the shelf. But like I said, we've been doing barrel picks since I took over the program in 2014. We have been picking barrels and selling the barrel picks in the restaurant by the pour, not by the bottle, because we weren't allowed to. And then what we always did in the past was we would approach breweries and say, hey, we have these barrels. Can we brew a beer together and age it in the barrels and then do an exclusive release at our restaurants? And we've done the most notoriety that we've received on one of those was a brewery called Bottle Logic out of Anaheim brewed a beer called Fundamental Observation, which is actually a synonym for Eureka, which is how the name came up. So I brewed that beer with them, and then we aged the beer. I had some Four Roses barrels, I had some Heaven Hill barrels, I had some Buffalo Trace barrels. It was kind of a hodgepodge of barrels, and then we released this beer, and that beer blew up so quickly, and I think it's like rated number 18 in the world on like Untapped and number 8 on Beer Advocate. And we've done collaborations with tons of different breweries. Modern Times, Moxa up in the Roseville area. So yeah, I mean, barrel picks are something that I've been doing for a long time, and just really love the process. And there are times where I'm not able to choose the barrels myself, and I just ask for the distillery or the head distiller to choose for us. Obviously, if Sazerac comes to me and says, hey, we can get these barrel picks to you a month early if you just let Harlan pick the barrels for you. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes I say, yeah, please just have Harlan pick them for me. I mean, it's Harlan Wheatley. I'm going to trust his judgment. Pretty much everything he makes is delicious. So that is a very long-winded answer to your question, but I hope I answered it.
I wanted to ask a question about the volume, because that Fred Minnick video was posted in our group, and my kind of like harebrained, no experience in the industry take on it was like, well, how can whiskey clubs be competing with like restaurants, and I'm just curious, as someone who kind of sees both of those, like what burns through a barrel faster, your monthly whiskey club or selling it by the pour in restaurants?
Yeah, I definitely see Fred's point, and like I said, I mean, we've been doing barrel picks and selling them in the restaurants even before this club, and we've kind of capped out on the number of barrels we can buy at a time with the current number of members we have, and I think I think there is a point, hey, all these clubs are buying up all these barrels, but it also is, I see Fred's point when it comes to maybe some clubs that have no history with these brands and haven't supported these brands over the years. I mean, we've been a company now for 12 years and had Buffalo Trace in our well when, 12 years ago, having Buffalo Trace in your well, it was like unheard of because, everyone used to having some plastic bottle with a screw cap on it. So we've been supporters for a long time. And I do see Fred's point when it comes to these clubs that didn't have any history pre-COVID with these distilleries, and they're buying up all the barrels. But I mean, like I said, we've kind of hit our cap, which is why we get everyone's like, well, why don't you just open up more memberships? It's like, well, if we want to continue doing barrel picks, I can't, the distilleries will not let me buy any more barrels. They have told me, Trevor, this is the max amount of barrels you can buy. So that's where we're at now. We're maybe can explore some other options in the future. Of people have proposed, hey, can you have different tiers to the membership, where, maybe you can get some barrel picks from, it'd be more exclusive. And that's a great idea, but just to be transparent, everyone, right now, who's doing this program is me and like one other person. So,
yeah. Trevor, I had a question, if I may, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Was the Fred Minnick YouTube, and thank you, Pat, for posting that link in the chat. Was he also, or was this the same one where he was talking about how distilleries may not provide their allocated bottles to restaurants as readily, or was it specifically focused on barrels?
I think he talked about both of those items.
And he was complaining, if I understand, about how restaurants have always been part of the partnership with distilleries, and that he was kind of getting a little bit bent out of shape, that they weren't getting the same preferential treatment for the allocated bottles.
Correct. And I think he did talk about barrel picks as well being part of those allocations. Yes, I think we're talking about the same video.
Yeah, it's a good one to watch to kind of get it, but you can see that Fred Minnick, who did Bourbon: The Rise and Fall, which is one of the recommended books and is featured in most all the places in Louisville that you go. So it's a great historical piece, kind of looking at what whiskey has provided as far as a tax base, just for the infrastructure for the United States, and also the Food and Drug, with the Bottled and Bond Act being one of the very first things that happened, where you kind of ensured that you didn't have your rectifiers putting in tobacco spit to color your whiskeys, that were at the pharmacy, because it was all medicinal, and you had a big barrel that they poured from. So those things were kind of really great. So I do recommend people to kind of watch that. So, and to that other point, Trevor, I think everybody's been really excited about what you guys are doing, and keep it simple, even though people might ask for the sun, moon, and stars. But since it's just you, and it seems like you're hitting on all cylinders every time there's a pickup. I mean, it seems pretty impressive. The Blanton one with the little Blanton beanie, that one really had me feeling a lot of missing out, FOMO. I was just like, that was impressive. So good job on what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. I like the beanie a lot. Maybe if you live in California, getting a beanie in the month of May when it was 80, 90 degrees, but just save it. It's cold in California every now and then. But yeah, I mean, thank you. I'm so appreciative of the support that we've gotten, and we've had some hardships. We're still a small company. Like we have 25 restaurants, but like I said, it's me and one other person running this whole program. And, there have been some issues with the Shopify, the online selling platform. And I know that there's been some frustrations, but overall, it's been just a pleasure to do. And it's fun. I mean, this is what I love to do. This is why I got into the industry. And the community is overwhelmingly more supportive than, the few people that have, shared some constructive criticism with me. But yeah, is there any more questions about the club or?
I think we'll have plenty of questions.
Okay.
If you're down, let's dive into the first
Yeah.
one.
Sorry.
We'll have plenty
I'm
of
like,
questions.
I have my side port here that I'm enjoying.
Cheater. All right, I see how it is.
Yeah, so we'll start with the Buffalo Trace pick.
By the way, we did the poll. Are you curious to see how many people here are potential clients versus our actual clients?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let me share the results. It's kind of as expected, but that's a big percentage of people who just couldn't get a membership, which is also interesting. I remember when, after you did your very first pick and featured the club and everybody went crazy for the Weller 107, and then you had a couple of non-pick months, let's put it that way. And
Yeah.
people were dropping like flies and you couldn't give memberships away, and people, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember it was a
No, I mean, we were doing okay. I saw the feedback, and like I said, it was a learning experience for us. Like we didn't know who our clientele was. At the beginning, we came out ablazing with the Weller 107 pick, and we had discussions about that, like at nauseum. Like, do we want this to be our first release? Is this setting the wrong precedent? But at the same time, it's like, well, we want to sell memberships. So, people did say, hey, there's a whole we were accused of bait and switch and all that stuff. And I understood people's points, but what I would tell people is, and I would respond, I would call people on the phone and say, I want to talk to you. Like, I understand you're upset. I totally get your point. Let me talk to you. And I would send them emails saying, these are all the barrel picks that are coming out. COVID has just delayed them. So, hopefully you see some value in getting a bottle of whiskey that, yeah, you can buy at the local liquor store for $40, but you're getting, a hand curated box. You're getting these snacks. You're getting these glassware, these swag items. So yeah, I mean, again, a learning experience for us, but the goal of the club is always to do as many barrel picks as possible. And we had a lot of people drop off, but we also had a ton of people that were extremely supportive and reached out to me and kind of just said, hey, listen, I get what you're doing. And even though I can get a Michter's rye bottle at the store for $40, all the other stuff in the box is great. And it's a discovery box and so on and so forth. So I talked to, a couple industry friends, and we all kind of predicted it. They said, once these barrel picks coming up, all these people that dropped are going to be, upset that they just didn't stick it out. So
on the poll,
Brian, I will give you my personal call, or I'm reading your message here. Let's touch base offline, Brian, about the comment you just left. So I'm sorry that happened, but yeah, we had some of those issues. But anyways, let's talk about Buffalo Trace. So
one quick sec, for the sake of rewatch this video and miss, somebody had pointed out that you can't see the polls when you watch the video. So for anyone watching at home, the poll results were 8 people out of 28 said they are members. 12 people said no, and 8 people said try to get in but couldn't. So those are the percentages. So
add one more to that last category.
Okay, so try to get in but couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here too, same thing. I tried in but couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm one of those people. I couldn't.
Same here.
Obviously, I'm the one hosting it. I couldn't get any. I tried and I couldn't get it either. But that's why we're here today, is to try some of these picks that we normally wouldn't be able to, and get this opportunity and find out why. Back to
so I just wanted to say, I tried to get in, and I was one of the victims of it went to the checkout, I put in the credit card, and then the whole thing kind of broke on me, even though I got the email saying that I was in. I want to commend your customer support people, because I sent them an email and they really helped everything out and got everything situated, and they were able to get me in. So I just want to say thank you to those people on the front lines. They really stepped up.
Oh, wow. I should have done that. I got like 10 of those emails saying I'm in and I didn't get in.
Yeah, and we've had it's kind of I don't want to dwell on this too much, but it's just kind of a situation where we've built up so many memberships that we're trying to work things out with the platform we're using, because I think transferring all the members to a new platform would be we just don't have the bandwidth for it right now with the number of people that it's just me and, like I said, one other person, and the great people that work in our customer service, that, and they're not like customer service people, it's our marketing department that handles that. So I'm glad that Taylor or Alexia was able to help you out, Eric, and I again apologize for all the issues, but it's good to be popular, but also comes with some struggles as well. So
It's a good problem to have. You're oversubscribed rather than undersubscribed. So
yeah, and like I said, I wish we could open it up to way more memberships, but if we want to keep these barrel picks, we've literally hit our cap with being able to order the number of barrels that we're ordering. I've had distilleries say, if you ask for any more barrels, I won't be able to give it to you. So anyways, let's talk about the first pour here. So obviously we all are familiar with Buffalo Trace. We've been doing Buffalo Trace barrel picks for as long as I can remember. Pretty much, fun fact, more often than not, if you order a Buffalo Trace at Eureka, and I'm not saying all the time, it's going to be a barrel pick, and that's our well bourbon in the majority of our restaurants. We do have a few restaurants in Northern California that pour Old Forester as their well, but the majority of restaurants pour Buffalo Trace as their well, and the majority of the time that's going to be a barrel pick, because we try to buy as many barrels from Buffalo Trace as often as they'll allow us to. So Vadim, did we share all the tasting notes and the cards with everybody? Everyone had access to that, right?
Yeah, so they have it on the event. It's on the Eventbrite. I shared pictures of it on the Eventbrite. So if you can.
Got it. So I'm not sure if people have access to that, but these are the info cards that we send out each month, and it has my tasting notes. I do take the distillery's tasting notes into account as well. I have this scale that I've kind of always used for training, with grain to oak, nutty to floral, spice to sweet. So I use that scale to kind of show people what I think the whiskey, what the whiskey tastes like, and just the overall profile. So for me, the one thing I love about Buffalo Trace is, like, just on the back end, I get like a big bright note of cinnamon and mint all the time. And I think with this barrel pick, the barrel picks, I always try to look for expressions that maybe stands out a little bit more. Obviously, the typical Buffalo Trace toffee, caramel, a nice oak characteristic. I do get some dark fruit notes of maybe some fig. One of my favorite pairings, and this isn't, it could be classified as shameless self-promotion, but one of the first meals I had at Eureka, even before I worked there, was a fig marmalade burger, and it's fig jam, house-made fig jam, bacon, spicy porter mustard, arugula, goat cheese, and just our burger. And I think this whiskey pairs great with that. It complements the fig jam a lot. And then, yeah, I'm interested to hear what other people think of this. Feel free to thank Vadim for posting the link to the tasting notes there. But
Trevor, how many members do you have in your club? You've mentioned that you can't really do much more, but I don't know if you've mentioned.
Yeah, right. As of last month, we capped it at 1,200. We actually have 1,186 members in the club, and that's spread out across. We have 25 restaurants. We have 22 or 24 restaurants. We're opening up one restaurant next month, and 22 of those restaurants participate in the club. The only reason the other two restaurants don't is because one is in Austin, Texas, and one is in Boise, Idaho, and the laws there don't allow us to do it. So the majority, 20 out of the 22 restaurants are 22 out of the 22 restaurants that participate in the club are in California, and then we do have a restaurant in Las Vegas and a restaurant in Seattle that also participate in the club. So last month we had 14 memberships that did not get sold, but unfortunately we aren't able to move those memberships to other restaurants in the middle of the month because we've already sent all the swag items, all the, you know, the whiskey ahead of time. So people are like, well, why can't you move San Luis Obispo memberships to San Diego because there's more demand for it? And I said, we most likely will do that next month. We just can't do that in the middle of the month because all the materials have already been sent. So right now, 1,200 is kind of like, we can't have any more members than that. So all the openings moving forward will just be due to, you know, people canceling or, you know, unfortunately, sometimes people don't update their payment information and we can't get a hold of them. So we have to kind of make the executive decision to cancel their memberships for them. So, but yeah, I mean, it's 1,200 memberships, and it's crazy to think, because I think at the end of last year we had around 400, and then all the barrel picks started coming, you know, and I ordered all these barrels like back in July and August of 2020, and you know, they just became available like in January, February 2021. So the turnaround time was a lot longer than
I thought that
would have liked.
Vadim had a lot of work to do when he was, you know, checking off of, or signing off of the virtual tasting. Go, hey, I need to go pour bottles, but having to manage 1,200 and having to get those boxes all put together, is it just the marketing people and yourself, or do you have a team that's, you know, that does it? How does that all work? I'm just kind of curious. And oh, by the way, the Buffalo Trace is fantastic, and I'm almost done with it.
Thank you. Yeah, so as far as curating the box, it's just me. I'm doing all the picks. I'm picking the snacks. I'm working with the distilleries on the swag. So yeah, it's a big undertaking. Marketing, I should say it's me and two other people. It was me and one other person, but we actually just hired another person in our marketing department that's helping out a lot. Their names are Alexia and Taylor. And I think, I can't remember who said it, but one person said they had a great experience with the customer service people, and that's our marketing team, and they're great. Couldn't do it without them. They kind of handle the Shopify and the cancellations, and the people that, you know, unfortunately, the ones that say, you know, I had it in my cart and I got a confirmation email and then it canceled. They do that. And then we have obviously a lot of help from the restaurants, because the members pick up at the restaurants. The restaurant managers are the ones putting the boxes together. We send out detailed emails with pictures. You know, this is everything that goes in the box. We even go as far as like to take a picture of like the box and say like, we want the whiskey bottle here, and the, you know, and it probably doesn't happen that way all the time, but we couldn't do it without the restaurant managers. They're the ones kind of putting those together. And we've looked into fulfillment centers. It's just kind of tricky with the alcohol laws, and having the right type of license and getting it done there. And you know, just to be completely transparent, and that's what I want to do. You know, I wanted to be transparent as possible on this call, because no, that's just who I am. I'm always a straight shooter. You know, we want people to come to the restaurants too. You know, this past year has been a rough year for us, and we want people to come pick up their baskets in person, or their boxes in person, and hopefully enjoy a meal, or at least enjoy a whiskey at the bar, or you know, a beer or something. So there is some value of them coming to the restaurant to pick it up. And also I think this program has introduced a ton of people to our concept that never knew about us. And, you know, I've been with the company for 10 years. I'm the longest tenured person in the company. I think there may be a few like servers or bartenders, but as far as like managers and upper management, I'm the longest tenured person here. And I've always believed in the company since day one. And although we are a quote unquote chain, you know, we try to do things that chains don't do. So yeah, sorry, again, long-winded answer to a short question, but.
I have a quick question. With 1,200 members and a barrel yielding something like 200 plus bottles, are you these barrel picks? Is it actually 6 barrels, or are you blending 6 barrels, or how does that work as far as it being a barrel pick with 1,200 bottles?
So right now we're averaging about 8 barrels per pick to hit that 1,200. Obviously the yield is different, and it depends on the release. So like this past release, we did the whistle pig, which we'll taste at the end, was a blend of 4 single barrels. So I actually have all 4 of the they sent me like 10 samples, and I got to be an alchemist and a blender and trying to find the best blend I thought was possible. So we have done blends of different barrels, but for the most part, the barrel picks, it says on the sticker what barrel number you got. So members will get, not every members will get different barrels. And we've done it in the past where, like, if you look at the Elijah Craig, which will be tasting later on here, we did break it down and I gave my tasting notes on each individual barrel. Now, just again, to be as transparent as possible, sometimes it's hard to get that information turned around with everything else going on. So we try to do that as often as possible, but sometimes it's just kind of a general flavor profile of what the whiskey tastes like. So hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, and Vadim said it. We put a $10 gift card in there for everybody. If you're near a Eureka or you've never been, come check us out. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for that, Trevor. I enjoyed my burger when I picked up all these, so that was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, Jordan's been a member since I think day 1, so his questions are all on point.
A member of this or a member of our club?
Both.
Of Eureka, I missed the first 2 months. I missed the
So
107
Jordan,
the second.
We have, like, I think, I don't know if you tune into the virtual tastings, but I've kind of teased, we've made like really cool hats for all our members that have been members since day 1. And it's like, it says TWC, says TWC on it, the Whiskey Club. And it's a really cool logo and it has Eureka on the side of it. So it's, I believe those will be going out to all our members who have been there since day 1 next month, just as a small, like, extra appreciation for you. So thank you. I can't miss it. So someone said they've been a member since the 2nd month. I think those people are going to be included as well, because the 1st month was super limited. And yeah,
Technically, I'm the same way. Vadim was slightly exaggerating, but
got it.
Big supporter, put it that way. He's been dropping off empty boxes at my house for the last few months.
Awesome.
All right, this Buffalo Trace is great. Are we on Eagle Rare?
Yeah, let's move on. I don't want to waste whiskey, so I'm gonna actually just drink this.
All right. Yeah, the Buffalo Trace was, a nice dry finish. Everybody seems to really like it. Easy drinker, 90 proof.
And
So Eagle Rare, this is like there's been a huge shortage on, if you had trouble finding, if you're a big Eagle Rare fan, you've had trouble finding bottles, there's been a huge shortage recently. We were having trouble getting bottles too. So if you can find Eagle Rare, if you like it and you see it at the store, I recommend buying a couple bottles, because I'm being told it's going to be about another month before at least the California distribution side of things gets more bottles, because our distributor is out right now. So
don't say that too loud, they'll get way too expensive.
What's up?
I said don't say that too loud, they'll get way too expensive.
Oh, that's a good point, David. So the Eagle Rare 10-year pick, I get a huge, like, orange peel thing right off the bat on the nose. Lots of toffee, almost like I get a lot of candied orange as well. And then honey, leather, and oak were my notes for this. This to me was actually drier than the Buffalo Trace. I get some candied almonds and like a dry, rich cacao, like a dark chocolate. And then again, my finish was dry and lingering oak. I think someone in the chat said they liked the Eagle Rare candied fruit. Yeah, I agree. I think someone in the note said that they preferred the Buffalo Trace over this one, actually. Maybe I'm imagining that. So I'm interested, how long has this club been going for? From what Vadim said, sounds like a lot of you on the call are regular monthly attendees.
Try weekly.
Bi-weekly.
Oh, bi-weekly.
Yeah, we do 1 to 2 a week, just about every week since April of last year.
Yeah, that's when things really kind of kicked up. And we formed the year before as a group, a Facebook group. A few of us got together. One of the co-founders, John Debney, is here. He's also on the board of directors. And Vadim is on the board of directors. So we just a bunch of enthusiasts and hobbyists, Trevor. So, and then when the pandemic hit, we were just very fortunate to have I've been talking to Vadim and met him at like the local pavilions doing, was it McAllen or was it Johnny Walker? I forget which one it was.
It was
Johnny Walker. I even have a picture of you in your Santa hat because it was during the holidays. That someday I'm going to use that as a virtual background, I think, maybe for the holidays. I think
when we finally do our own barrel pick tasting.
Yeah, it would be good. So to answer the question, we were, a couple hundred members by that time, but then the virtual tastings started to take hold, and now we're at 1,700 members. We have a pretty good pace, for a private club. You just got to answer the questions and agree to the rules. Then you're in.
And is that the club? Is that the Facebook group that I posted in as well? The Los Angeles Bourbon and Whiskey Society.
It was. Now it's the Los Angeles Whiskey and Spirits Guild. Correct.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you've been there, and we watched you when you first posted, and we're like, "Who is this guy?" And Vadim says, "Oh yeah, he's good," and Jordan and everybody else.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate what you're doing for the community, because I think that we wouldn't allow it unless you were actually promoting and kind of encouraging people to kind of try different things, which is what you said in the very beginning of this virtual tasting. And so we appreciate that. You're focused on what we're focused on too. So it's all a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah, right. At the end of the day, it's drinking whiskey and talking to people. It's something that's been going on for thousands of years. And so is everyone on this call based in the greater Los Angeles area, or is there?
Nope.
So we are predominantly LA. We have a few people on the East Coast. Justin here is representing East Coast. We have a few kind of up and down. We have some San Diego folks. For the most part, we have a very nice network of people that just kind of distribute samples, and then we magically make other ones appear elsewhere.
Yes, by magic. And then we also have Kwa, who's one of our longtime members. He's calling in from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. He's still in lockdown, aren't you, Kwa? Yep. COVID lockdown in a hotel.
2 more days.
I thought New Zealand was like open, like it was just.
That's why it's open, because they don't like Kwa in.
I will be 2 days.
They make everyone that lands in the country take a 2-week lockdown.
Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you said he was lived in New Zealand.
No, he's there for work. We miss him. He doesn't have our samples right now. There we go. We got some Maryland folks here. They probably just joined because of the whistle pig.
Yeah, nice.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
We're happy that you did. The Eagle Rare is really good, Trevor. You guys you did a great job on this pick. I just love
Thank
how
you. Yeah.
smooth and luscious it is. Has a nice sweet nose. It's not super hot. It just goes down really easy.
Yeah, I'll say, because like I haven't yet cracked their full proof because I have another full proof and I don't want two full proofs and stuff like that. But every pick you guys have, I've been very pleased with them. There was a Laws rye before we did our Laws. It's what you're saying. I'm a big fan of it. Like I always feel like when you guys have like a really nice bottle, like a full proof, yeah, it's like an orange and something else. But then when there's like a bottle that's lesser, like the Logic Craig, I remember there was two dope glasses and a hat and a book. I mean, you guys are always making me feel like it's worth it. So I would definitely recommend for anyone, if you see a spot open near you, to snag it. Because I've gotten some pretty rad bottles over the last 8 months or whatever it is.
And Jordan, that means more to me than you know, like honestly, because I do take that into consideration. If I think it's like a bottle that is maybe not going to have like the Blanton's bottle. I think we had like the Blanton's bottle and a beanie. That was it. It's like it's a Blanton's barrel pick. Like one, we paid more for it than some other releases, but it also carries more weight. And the Elijah, and like, so I'm constantly talking to Alexia, who is my partner on this project, and the distillery is saying like, hey, we have to add more. Like even if it costs us more money, even if there's been certain months where we actually make less money on the whiskeys that maybe aren't as exciting, because I'm like, I don't care if we make less money, it has to be worth it to our members. Because it just has to be. Like I don't want the last thing I want someone is to open their box and say like, I don't feel this is worth the $75 a month subscription price. And we got that feedback in the beginning.
That's the way you need to keep it, because people like Jordan, who he would definitely say it, but he's also people like Jordan will be your strongest advocates, and he has been a very strong advocate of yours for as long as I can remember.
Well, thank you. Like I said, it really means more. And I think I said this from like day one in the group when I think my first post, I was just like, I am like a real person. Like I want to have real conversations with people. If you have feedback for me, please, here's and like I said, I called, there's so many members that were upset that I literally just picked the phone. I was like, send me your phone number, I want to talk to you. And I spent like 30-40 minutes just talking to them and being like, yeah, thank you. And I like, this has kind of like been my passion project during COVID, and not to vent too much, but like, in addition to running the beverage program for our company for the past, being the beverage director, I've been with the company for 10 years and the beverage director for the past 7, when COVID hit, we had to make tough decisions as a company. And I also have been running the entire recruitment program for our company for the past 14 months, recruiting all our managers, posting ads for servers and bartenders and cooks. And it's so hard to hire right now. So, it's been a busy and stressful year, and this has kind of been like a bright light for me in this whole, like, I'm trying not to get too emotional, but it's been a tough year. And this is like the one thing that, I just had a baby 4 months ago, so that also brings me joy in my life. But the Whiskey Club is something that's really been a bright light in a really hard past year. So I really appreciate the kind words. It means a lot to me.
Did you get is the Blantons your baby's birthday at least? Did you time it right, or?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't think so.
Next one.
Yeah, exactly. No, this was 12/7/20. This is the Blanton's single barrel pick that I have. And he was born double blackjack, 2/21/21. I'll never forget my son's birthday, double blackjack. So let's go move on to the Blantons. Speaking of Blantons, thank you.
Hey, Tyler, my little boy was 2/19/21.
Nice.
We were close there.
My kiddo was 2/21/15.
Nice.
Really?
Share birthday.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
Well, congratulations to Brian, and was it Michael that said you just had 15, so in good company. Cool. Let's taste the Blanton's. Obviously, very highly regarded whiskey. And one thing I will say too, like one of the coolest things about this club is that we do this thing, these virtual tastings. We don't, unfortunately, with 1,200 members, we can't allow this level of participation. But we do have monthly calls with people from the distillery, whether it's the head distiller, like we've had calls with Harlan, or brand ambassadors or barrel managers. So like there is an educational piece behind the club as well that we extend to our members, where we taste the whiskey, we talk about the history of the distillery, we talk about we allow questions from the audience. So it's important to me, not only giving the whiskey nerds and the people that are learning about whiskey the great bottles, but also the education about the industry and about whiskey in general. And it's such a beautiful and amazing spirit that has such a rich history in the United States. And yeah, that's another thing about this club that I love doing. We just talked to Doug Ward, who is the national brand ambassador for WhistlePig, last night, and he was able to share some really cool stories about Dave Pickering, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So Blanton's pick. So I get a lot more baking spices on the nose here than the last two. A nutmeg for sure, a lot of vanilla. Someone had said this in a previous comment about the Buffalo Chase, but I get a lot of like caramel kettle corn on the palate here, big toffee and honey note as well. And then the finish to me is kind of medium long, and I still get some of those baking spices at the end, a lot of nutmeg, a little bit of cinnamon, but more oak characteristic here than the first two. But I mean, Blanton's, it's.
Trevor, I have a question when it comes to the barrel picks. How many samples were you sent? Because I've noticed that Blanton's single barrel, expressions, and I have been very fortunate to be able to kind of have a good collection of them. There's been some significant different or noticeable differences between one pour and the next. Did you notice that when you were doing your barrel pick?
I'll be completely honest with you. The Blanton's barrel pick was something I asked Harlan and Buffalo Trace to pick for me, just because of the turnaround time. They said if they were to send me samples and I would have to pick, it would kind of delay it a little bit longer. Sure. And it was when I ordered the barrel pick of Blanton's, it was kind of in that time where we were getting some honest, constructive criticism, I guess is the best way I'd say it. And I was already told that some of the other barrel picks were delayed at that time. So it was kind of like with the Blanton specifically, I said, just choose for me. It's Blanton's. I know people are going to love it. So again, I'm here to be as transparent as possible. I did not choose these barrel picks. I had the distillery choose for me for this one to help expedite the process a little bit.
But have you had enough Blanton's to say that you've noticed some differences from one bottle to the next?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, but this is great. This is right there.
I actually want to do I don't know what Vadim sent me, but I'm probably, the odds are in my favor that whatever was sent to me is different than the actual bottle I have.
How many barrels did you guys go through for the Blanton's? Because I'm guessing you ramped up your barrel count between the first pick and now.
Yeah, so with Blanton's, I think I picked either 5 or 6 barrels because our membership at that time was, I think, around 850 or 900 was the cap. We just increased it to 1200 for the WhistlePig pick. So I think it was about 5 or 6 barrels of Blanton's, which I just kind of looping in what I said earlier about sending these barrels to breweries. We are doing a project with the Weller Foolproof barrels, the Buffalo Trace barrels, the Eagle Rare barrels, and the Blanton's barrels. I split them between 2 different breweries in San Diego. So we're doing a project with Modern Times to do a barrel aged beer with Modern Times, and also doing a barrel aged beer with the Lost Abbey, who are kind of 2 of my old school craft San Diego breweries that I've had good
Lost
relationships
Abbey's
for a long time. So hopefully be able to do something cool with that. So again, those beers will be released, you know, when the beer is ready, you know, depending on, just like whiskey, you know, don't rush the process. The beer will tell you when it's ready. But yeah, so this is, yeah, so these taste, I get way more nutmeg and cinnamon on the nose here. And with this one, it's like pretty much straight vanilla on the nose. So the differentiation between the 2 is pretty wide, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, smelling out of a rocks glass and smelling out of a Glencairn is a little different, but I only have the one Glencairn with me. Sorry.
Wait, you only have one Glencairn? That makes no sense.
With me.
Okay, with you. Okay, thank God.
I was gonna say you should have signed up for the.
I will say this: my wife, one of her pet peeves is the amount of glassware I have, and we just went through a move, so I actually think I only probably have about 2 or 3 Glencairn glasses now, because I was
over the top.
My wife is a very lovely, well, I don't want to say she told me, she just asked very nicely, and I love her to death. So I eliminated some of my glassware in the move. But the thing about my job is that when I get rid of glassware, I probably am going to replace that glassware in the coming months. So
I was gonna say if you really need Glencairns, we can all chip in one, and you'll have enough for a few tastings.
Yeah, don't even ask. We have a bunch of them, and I have gotten to the point with Vadim, it's like I don't need a glass. I don't need any swag. It's maybe a couple T-shirts that I'll send to a family member. But you know, my wife and I are both kind of share the same kind of mindset. We don't like a lot of just kind of random stuff. So I have about, I don't know, 10, 11 Glencairns, and that's perfect.
That's not even close to perfect.
No, not for the professional tasters, because you need to show up with 18. Is that right, Brian?
Yeah.
You show up with 18, but you have at least 18 backups for when the 18 break or whatever happens. So yeah.
And it's like you have to have
Norland and your Lively and Denver and Lively and your all the different versions.
And your Tuath glasses.
Canadian, right? And your Tuath and your Canadian version and your Copitas and your branded this and branded that. And apparently Eureka should come out with its own glasses. So then Trevor can say, but honey, it's my own Eureka glasses. So I need to have a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Free tip.
Copitas, are you drinking mezcal?
We do that too. That's happening tomorrow, actually. And we got Copitas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Not to mention the little clay things, if you have an example of one.
Those are
Copitas, right? The little clay.
No, but the
mezcal?
Copitas are also like these little glass, like tulipy type things that have.
There's a whiskey Copita, which is like a stemmed tulip glass. And then there's
really, I'll have to check. I've never heard of that. I've only heard of the little clay cups for the Copitas. But hey, I learned something new. That's always. Brian, I'm sure it sounds like you have a very extensive glassware collection.
My wife just laughed and said under her breath, "That's an understatement." So yeah.
Yeah, got it.
We call it order. You know, he calls it collection.
I don't have.
Someone someone called it an addiction in the comment section, I believe.
So these are the clay Copitas that Trevor's talking about.
Ah, I need to get some of those.
You have one. Did you sign up for tomorrow's tasting? There we go. We also have, so we've done a couple of mezcals, and one of them we got, somebody tell me the word.
A gourd.
The gourd is what it's made out of, but it's a, that will know. Hikara, there we go. Hikara, that's made out of a dry gourd.
PTF, what's your dog's name?
His name's Dignan.
What is it?
Dignan?
Dignan?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
He came out of nowhere.
It's a good looking pup.
Usually we have a couple cats jumping into the screen. Either it's Vadim's or from our last virtual tasting, it was very interesting because it jumped on the back of the presenter's chair and we're like, that's a cool cat. He's like, oh shit, is he there? It was kind of fun.
I got very angry at my cat today because he would not stop jumping up on the desk. And normally he like doesn't do it that often. That I had to, usually I keep the door open for these things so the dog and the cat can come in and out because they like to be in here. But I didn't trust the cat. So
no, we don't mind if the cat jumps in and there's a big tail that kind of crosses the screen. We think it's funny.
I mind because I have like bottles and stuff and like fragile things all over the desk.
You're gonna knock him over.
He just gets up here and just wags his tail all over the place. But
he's like, I'm sorry, I broke it, spilled it.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, I had a couple samples on my desk earlier that were like, were important samples, and he almost knocked it over, and I got a little angry. But
what was
cool.
the
I think
that you were most excited for out of the ones you did?
Or
has it not happened yet? Is there one you're hunting?
I don't think it's happened yet. I'm very excited. I'll share a little bit of information. We have a barrel pick coming out. I'm not going to say what month, and I actually have a bottle here of one of the samples they sent me of Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit.
Wow.
And I don't know how everyone feels about Wild Turkey on this call, but I think Wild Turkey is very underrated and just makes consistently great bourbon. I saw Brian give me the thumbs up, so I know he's a fan, but I'm super excited about this pick, and that's coming out in a few months. Not going to tell the month specifically, but that one I'm super excited about. Obviously, I was super excited about the Weller Full Proof. Loved the 107 pick that we did. I've liked all the. All the picks excite me, but I'm really excited about the Kentucky Spirit from Wild Turkey. Yes, we did Law's San Luis Rye. We also just did the rye from the 10-year Whistle Pig, which I'll taste at the very end here as well. Someone asked if we did any ryes, but yeah.
Any coming up?
Any ryes coming up? Not that I can think of. We do have a single malt coming out.
Yes.
A barrel pick single malt coming out.
Finally.
And Trevor,
that's actually coming out July. So that will be, the single malt is next month.
American single malt.
American single malt. Yes.
Trevor, do you source anything from people like that blend that, do you grab barrels from people that get it from like MGP or one of the other producers and they blend like Pinhook, for example? They do a great rye. Well, look at there.
So we are doing something with Pinhook in the next few months, but it's not a rye. It's a bourbon. A bourbon. Yeah. I love Pinhook. Pinhook's great.
That was probably one of my most enjoyable virtual tastings with somebody who's doing sourcing and blending, and the way that they were talking about how their batching process. I gained my appreciation for that and the skill and the difficulty that goes into it.
Yeah, and we've done, even Whistle Pig sources from Alberta and some stuff from MGP. Obviously, the 10 years is Alberta. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to do some more ryes, but the feedback I've gotten from the majority of our members is bourbon is what is the demand, which I think it speaks to the industry in general. But we are doing an American single malt coming up in July. A lot more bourbons. We'll have it's not going to be a barrel pick, but I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with the barrel craft releases that have come out and have gained a lot of popularity. So we're working with Barrel Craft on doing something with them later in the year. 1792 barrel pick, 1792 foolproof barrel pick will be sometime this year. I've been really trying, and it's probably not going to happen this year, but I've been really trying to get Four Roses. Just can't give me the yield that I need. We've done barrel picks with them before for just pours in our restaurant, but probably not going to happen this year. And everyone's asking for another Weller 107 barrel pick, and I'm trying really hard to make that happen, but probably won't happen until Q1 of 2022 is what I'm aiming for. But and again, this is all exclusive information. We're not putting that stuff out there anymore. We're trying to keep the membership club to be a surprise discovery box each month. So to gain traction on the memberships, we did kind of announce what each month was going to be this year. But I think I hope we've gained people's trust to know that the releases will be of significant value and trust my ability to pick barrels. And so again, the information I'm sharing with you is not public information that we're putting out there. I'm kind of trying to give everyone an exclusive for those that are part of the
I have to
club.
apologize that Vadim is recording this, and we will publish it on YouTube and as soon as we're done. Sorry.
Oh, all right.
Just kidding.
No, I do upload it, but it's not for public. We share with only the people that are in our private society.
That's fine. It's not a big deal.
And we can also stop and start. So if you ever want us to stop and start,
and I'm fully aware that people on this club will probably share this with other people, and feel free to do so. It's fine. We're still not announcing what each month's going to be, but I'm more than happy to let people know what's coming up to. Again, I hope I've gained people's trust with these picks, but if that information needs to get out there to keep people, subscribed and looking forward to future months, I'm more than happy to for everyone on this call to share that information.
Oh, a lot of memes out there talking about Trevor said.
David, I love the background, the Kobe background. I have 24
nice
and 8 tattooed on my arms. So just noticed that. So
nice.
big Kobe, grew up idolizing Kobe Bryant. So but make all the memes you want, David. I'm good.
Can you give us a hint about what state the single malt's from? Like, would be wacky enough to think it's from Texas, or go more westward, or I don't know.
or it could be in the Westland area.
Exactly.
Or you could pause the recording and he could respond.
No, I can't. I'm sorry. It's got to be kept a surprise. But we do carry them at Eureka. It is something that we've carried for a while. So you can go stare at our menu and guess. I guess
It's
there's only
Eureka.
a few.
Try some of the single malts, and you shall guess.
But it is a barrel pick. It is bottled at a higher proof. It's bottled at 100 proof. Normally, I think it's around 85, 80, maybe 80. I can't remember. But it's a higher proof barrel pick of an American single malt that we feature at Eureka.
Higher proof that you feature at Eureka. That limits some people. That limits a couple of brands that bottle. You got to do more single malts. Can you open a second club for us single malt drinkers?
Again, I'd love to do different tiers and different levels of the club, but it's just me. So
your palate lies. What's your passion? Are you a corn syrup guy? Do you like rye? Do you like what's the spirit, the whiskey that makes you happy?
I do like spice quite a bit. So I do, I love bourbon, but I do like rye quite a bit as well. Kind of one of the whiskeys I fell in love with, one of the first whiskeys I tasted from an early age was Rittenhouse. I was a Rittenhouse rye old fashioned weekly drinker. That was kind of my go-to drink if I went to a whiskey bar, because I think Rittenhouse is great because it's an affordable bottle. It's very spicy, dill forward rye whiskey, which I like a lot. But I cut my teeth early on in beer. I'm a certified Cicerone. So I've kind of always liked that bite, obviously a big IPA fan. So I think that's maybe why I do like rye, but I find myself it's rye or bourbon. I just really kind of depends on what I want, but I do like it's hard because I try to check myself sometimes and say, hey, that's too out of the ballpark. I don't know what the correct term would be for it, but I do have to kind of check myself and
center lane
and go with balance sometimes, and because sometimes I like the extremes. I like, that, oh wow, that's super interesting and that's super like different, and I like that, but maybe the average person would like something more balanced. So I do have to check myself.
So we're not going to see a Lafroig, snuck into a box anytime soon.
No, probably not. No. I had a boss who, one of my old bosses was Irish, and one of his favorite things to do when we were like, especially like a new restaurant opening, after we all worked like a 14-hour day, like a 6-day work week, 14-hour days, we'd go out at the end of the week, and he'd always order like a round of Lafroigs for everybody, and it was kind of like an initiation of sorts. But I obviously had worked with him so long, I kind of always saw it coming, but always liked to see the reactions on people's faces that had never had it. But no Lafroigs. I do have to check myself every now and then and say, hey, maybe sometimes balance is better than the extremes. So
when you're going to be kind of going outside the box, it'll be kind of ryes and different sort of combinations thereof.
Yeah, I know. One thing I really liked about the Laws pick that we did was that they do kind of like open fermentation, similar to like a lambic or like a Belgian style sour. And there was like almost like a bit of funkiness to that, where that really stood out to me. And it was definitely divisive with certain people. Some people didn't like it at all. And then other people were like, wow, this is super interesting. So I'm not sure if anybody, I think Jordan said he had the Laws picked. What did you think of it?
I really liked it. Yeah, it was super. It was even different from any of the ones we had during the tasting. I remember being like super floral, but not in like a lavendery botanical way. In like a really nice it was just different and interesting, not funky, but yeah, I remember it being a little out of left field. But it threw me off at first. I'll be completely real, and then I revisited after a couple days and really dug it, and then it did not last very long. I remember Vadim was like, because we did a Laws tasting a couple weeks later, he's like, "Oh, do you have any left?" And I was like, "No, brother." Once I got into that bottle, I got super into that bottle, so it's gone. But yeah, I really liked that bottle a lot.
All right, let's say Elijah Craig, because I see people are like, "I already finished it," so we'll move on to that really quick. So this was, if you have the Whiskey Club card, but thank you, Jordan. I appreciate the opinion. I loved that one, and but that would maybe be an example of my personal preference dominating the picks, rather than saying, hey, think of what everyone else will like.
I like it a lot, so I say follow your gut sometimes, because that was good.
All right, cool.
Elijah Craig was sold 20 minutes ago.
I know. I'm sorry.
Damone, so
So
Trevor,
on
Damone
this-
and I are, we dove into the Elijah Craig. I noticed that when I got into the Elijah Craig, that the nose was distinctly different than the others. And I wanted to kind of say that how much I'm enjoying the fact that we're doing something with a bunch of different expressions from different distilleries. I really like the fact that the Elijah Craig, the nose was not nearly as kind of appealing to me as the others were. But then you start to get into, as soon as you drink it, you're just like, oh yeah, there's that wonderful complex spiciness and all those wonderful characteristics.
Yeah, I
Sure.
think if you look at this tasting note sheet, a lot of similar words, vanilla, woody, nutmeg, but I don't think this is the bottle that I like, the pick I like the best. The one that I like the best was, if you have the sheet in front of you, was barrel number 6022716. And I got this, like, it just smelled like birthday cake. Like, I don't know anywhere else to describe it. Like, it just smelled like artificial, like vanilla birthday, but in like a good way. And I was just blown away by it. I don't think this is the barrel that I'm smelling here. I think this one I'm getting more of the gingerbread, like nutmeg thing going on. But there was one that was just like in your face vanilla birthday cake. There's no way else I can describe it. So this was one of the cool ones where I was able to, I had the time to like sit down and really dissect each pick and come up with tasting notes. So I know your little vials don't say what bottle you had, but maybe you can look at it and maybe guess which one you had. If I were to guess, I'd say this one is I'm either leaning towards 6022735 or 6022745 because I'm getting little faint notes of mint, a little bit of peach, but also some of that orange. There's some of that gingerbread, but I don't know. You tell me. So I'm hoping as we do this club and we can do maybe some more cards here where we break out each, so people can say, oh, this is the barrel I got, the number, and then look at the tasting notes. And I think that's always really fun.
The Blanton's card is trading for 2 Elijah Craigs.
What?
Card trading. I hear the one card.
Oh, card trading. Yeah. Should we sell these as NFTs?
Yeah. If it's in mint condition, it's worth more.
Got it. Someone told me that my all my old basketball and baseball cards that I thought were worth nothing are now maybe worth something these days, but I haven't done much research on it. So my Jordan rookie cards and my Shaq rookie cards maybe worth something.
Watch, tomorrow you retire. Thanks.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm curious to hear what Chris thought of all these picks. Chris is kind of hiding in the shadows.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Because we went through half of his portfolio a minute ago.
Chris, me?
Yeah.
Chris,
Oh.
I don't think we've had the pleasure of meeting before, but thanks for hopping
Not
on.
until now. No, I kind of run in a different circle, but I definitely wanted to join for this.
Yeah, I work with Candida mostly.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm super impressed with what you've picked so far. I've skipped ahead and tasted all of them. I think the Eagle Rare so far is my favorite, but that Elijah Craig is really solid as well. Like David had mentioned, really layered, really complex. The finish on it is great. So yeah, I've enjoyed everything so far. So great work.
Thank you. Well, thanks for hopping on.
Thanks, Chris.
Hope,
For anyone
hope
who
we can meet in
doesn't know,
person one of these days.
Chris joined us for when we did our very first Buffalo Trace tasting, and Chris represents the Buffalo Trace portfolio. Thanks, Chris.
All right. Should we move on to the, I'm sure many people have already moved.
I have not. I'm waiting for you, Trevor.
Would be the Weller Full Proof.
Lies.
We don't
No, not
believe you,
lies,
David.
Damone.
We don't believe you, David.
Oh, look, it's full.
All right.
Mhm.
Tea.
You didn't let that one
Oh, the
breathe
nose
at
on
all
this is
before?
spectacular.
This and then full transparency as well. This and the Blantons I ordered at the same time, and I just kind of asked Harlan and Buffalo Trace and Candida, who I work with, to have the distillery choose for me. So, you know, when I found out like, oh, I can get a foolproof barrel pick, I was, you know, very quick on the email to say yes, please just give it to me as quick as possible. So. I do get like a ton of dark like chocolate covered cherries is kind of the best way I can describe it, which I have it in my tasting notes. A lot of caramel, and then the finish, obviously with the higher proof here, is very long for me. But we got a lot of I think it's hard to say whether, because the Weller 107, I think, is the pick I got the most positive feedback on, even though it was the first month we did, and it was, you know, obviously not a ton of members at that time. But I also just love the foolproof pick that we got from Buffalo Trace. The Weller 107, I think, was a little bit more special to me personally, just because I did choose those barrels. Cherry cola is nice. I definitely see that. But obviously, just a phenomenal bourbon all around. But everyone keeps asking me. I think the Weller 107. I don't know if it was just because it was the first month and it was kind of more exclusive, but I think that's the pick that I get the most questions about it, like, when are you going to do another 107 pick, which we're working on. And it's just, is the Weller worth the hype? I mean, I don't want you to take my firstborn, Vadim, but you know,
It was
There should be
metaphorical.
something in between.
It was metaphorical.
Wait until they start to talk. Then you might change
I
want
just
Vadim
this
to. I want Vadim to take my first and secondborn.
I meant just this, the Weller foolproof, because, you know, you admitted, and a lot of people that signed up, that this was the pair that is a stones. This was the one bottle that everyone was most excited for. And it's so funny hearing everyone that has gone through the lineup, including Chris and a few other people, or like Brian, who have said, oh, my favorite actually wasn't the Weller foolproof. So I'm just curious, you know, Weller has a following and it's a great bourbon, but is it worth the hype? And so I'm just curious.
I think it just depends on what you want. I mean, like, this is obviously a much bolder bourbon than some of the other picks. If you're looking for balance, like what Chris said, like the Elijah Craig pick, I think is great. I mean, it's just a balanced, good whiskey. This is obviously has a bit more bite to it with the higher proof. I think the flavor profiles are, I guess, is more sharp. You know, it's definitely, it's not as nuanced. I feel like there's like 2 to 3 flavor profiles it hits versus the Elijah Craig that has.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say it's just as good right there on the same, but it just has a little more edge to it. It's almost, I don't know. I won't say parallel to the Elijah Craig, but the oak and the caramel notes are kind of the same, except it's just a little hotter.
Yeah, for sure.
And if memory serves, this box came with a what to make with and a suggestion to make an old fashioned. And I happen to have another Weller foolproof. And as I said, I didn't crack this one. I had the other one, and I had like Sam Nash Green in my head and some other people who would say, like, fuck it, bourbon's meant to be drunk, whatever. So I made an old fashioned with it and I posted it on the group page. And some people got like, one guy was like, oh, can you really tell the difference? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, like,
Yes,
you make an old fashioned with this versus, you know, versus what a bullet or
Maker's Mark.
I'm not trying to fucking shit on anyone, but versus a $20 bottle, yeah, you taste a fucking difference. So
And then
FYI, anyone who has it wants to make an old fashioned,
and we had a bit
really good.
we had a bit of fun with that too, because you know, I work with our marketing department, and they understand our brand, and they are whiskey drinkers themselves, but maybe don't know the nuances of the different brands and kind of the accolades and the hype behind it. And so they're like, oh, we need to come over with a cocktail. And I was like, well, I don't know if we need a cocktail for the Weller Full Proof. And they're like, well, what would you make with it? I guess I was like, oh, I guess an old fashioned or a Manhattan. Like, I'm not going to make a bee's knees or anything with it. Like,
right.
But then when the blends came out, we were like, well, they're like, okay, well, what cocktail should we do? I was like, I don't think we need a cocktail with it. Like, so we did like a Blanton's Boilermaker, I think, on that month, where it was just like not even mixing the two, just like pour. I think the recipe said like pour 2 ounces of Blanton's, grab your favorite beer, crack open, enjoy side by side, like, so. But yeah, and that's a good bourbon still makes great cocktails. Like Jordan said, I mean, is there a difference? Yeah, there is a difference. You're making a cocktail with a phenomenal bourbon versus excuse my language, a shitty bourbon. There obviously is a difference.
Are we making old fashioned with, like the Westland peated? I mean, that's one of my favorites is the Westland, peated whiskey that they have. So yeah, there's a big difference. Rise, Rittenhouse, like you mentioned, your old fashioned, that you like those with that. I completely agree.
Don't make them with crushed ice, a red maraschino cherry, and a slice of orange in it. That is the worst old fashioned, and they do that at restaurants and bars, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, the smokehouse in Toluca Lake, Burbank, they do it that way, and it's
Yeah, I have been that guy at a bar and asked for. I saw that they made an old fashioned that way and walked the bartender through how I want it made. I haven't been that guy for many years, but I think at one point I did do that. But I agree. I think what my barometer of a good bar, at least, it's even hard to say because I haven't been out since COVID for so long, but if a bar can make a good old fashioned and make it the proper way, then it's a telltale sign to me, at least, of is the food going to be good? Is the other cocktails on the menu going to be good? So, not to be a snob, but I think all of us here on this call.
Well, it's okay to be a little bit of a snob if you want to enjoy your dining experience and your cocktail. I mean, if not, don't order it because it's just going to be a waste of time.
First question is, do you have large format ice cubes?
If you don't, we know someone who could suggest them to you.
Crystal clear, make sure.
Crystal clear, Lori. Right. Crystal clear, large format ice cubes.
2 by 2.
Sorry, Trevor. We're a big fan of Neve Ice, and some of us are lucky enough to live close enough to a couple retailers that provide them. And
what is it?
Anyway, it's a clear ice cube. I'm sure you've seen them around. It's just a clear ice. So if you're drinking, your bourbon or your whiskeys, I tend to like it on the rocks. I know a bunch of us here do.
But is it like for at home or?
Yes, they supply restaurants and bars so Neve Ice, I'm not sure if you heard about it. I know you've probably heard about Penny Pound, who copied them, but it's a 2-inch crystal clear ice cube, and it's just like if you had to carve it yourself or you made it yourself. But Neve Ice, I've been a big fan of Michelle, who's the owner, for over a year, and I give them ridiculous amounts of coverage and plugs here. And look, John Debney has a bag of Neve Ice.
Where is it?
It says the mini rock. So these are the 1-inch. So anyway,
we call them product placement, Trevor. You need to make sure you do a lot of it. So.
Got it. Yeah, you know what? One thing I'll be honest with you that I've been trying to improve forever at Eureka is our ice program. And I finally have made, after years and years of telling our owners, like, we have to have better ice, we're finally making some traction. Like, we do the large ice cubes, we use distilled water, in the molds, but they're not crystal clear. So it's something
We can help
working.
you.
Yeah. So yeah, send me contacts. I'm more than happy to look at it. Something that it's been a big point of contention, and I'm finally making, after many years of talking to ownership about it, I'm finally making. It's just hard to find an ice supplier for all our different markets, and
It is, yeah, because right now, Neve is only really in the Los Angeles area, and we're working on strategies to kind of build a network of bottle shops that they could then start their distribution.
LG and Samsung are coming out with the large format ice makers in their refrigerators.
Well, I've seen those, Demond, but
yeah, they're cloudy. They're not clear, but
they don't get it as clear. I mean, Lori and
when I get home, I just want to drink.
Big fans, and Jordan as well too. But it just changes your drinking experience if you want it if you want it cooled and you want the slow dilution, you want that experience. You cannot. It's just nothing like it.
It's the only thing I use when I make an old fashioned at home. That's
yeah.
I have the I don't know if this is just something I've used for a while, and I don't know what the group feedback is on it, but it's the Wintersmith ice cube trays. I've used those for a long time to make clear ice at home.
What are those?
It's called Wintersmith.
Huh.
I've started to see some out there where they look like they're using that directional freezing, which is about the only way if you YouTube or Google how to make clear ice at home, which I've endeavored to do and pissed my wife off by taking about 25% of our freezer space to get the
I've done
wrap it in a towel.
Yeah. Exactly. So
bullshit.
It's a little expensive. The Wintersmith stuff is I think it's like $100+ to make like have a thing the thing that makes 4 cubes, but it makes crystal clear ice, and I've enjoyed it. So
okay, we'll get you the information on Neve.
Yeah, please do. That would be great.
And thank you very much, whoever started that, Lori or Amanda. Thank you.
Yeah. So I guess lastly here is the Whistle Pig.
Last but not least,
you guys said, yeah, which you guys said you're doing.
Yeah, we had their national brand ambassador on a tasting not too long ago, but you know what,
Doug?
Yeah, we had Doug on and Blake.
Oh, nice.
So it was great. But yeah, I want to.
Yeah, just the stories he had about Dave Pickerel were just amazing.
Let's all raise a glass. Yeah, I want to say thank you.
Oh, we're doing a picture here. Okay.
Trevor. Yeah, thank you, Trevor, for indulging us tonight. It's it's great to get the man behind the brand. You're doing a great job and obviously great whiskey. And thank you so much for spending the evening with us. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
And because we have a page and a half, I'm going to ask you all to smile one more time in just a second.
And thank you, Henry. I'm not the only geek with headphones on.
Nerd.
Yeah, I have the AirPods in.
Don't thank him. Don't thank him.
All right, everyone, smile. Cheers. Look at Marissa with the model pose. I see that. Cheers. Oh no, yeah, you're covering your face. All right, one more time. Everyone smile.
All right.
Perfect. I got her to blush. She covered her face. I didn't want to do that. All right, perfect.
Good job.
Hey, I'm working and then having a great time. First time being here, so thank you for hosting.
Welcome, Henry.
Yeah, yes, thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so the last one is the Whistle Pig. So this is actually the only barrel strength whiskey that the single barrel or the barrel picks that we've done. So we did something unique with them, and we talked to Doug last night about it, and it's actually, he was saying it's the only time he'd ever heard of it being done, at Whistle Pig is doing a barrel pick and blending the barrels together. So rather than other barrel picks where each bottle has been numbered of what barrel it came from, everyone got the same bottle, and it was a blend of 4 different barrels. It came out to 114.2 proof, and it was a blend of barrels that the highest proof of one barrel was 118.8. I'm looking at the bottles now, and then the lowest was 112.3. With Whistle Pig, even though they label it as a 10-year, it's not always 10-year. So we had determined that the average age of the whiskeys that had went into this pick is around 12. So it's labeled as a single barrel rye 10-year, but it's actually a blend of 4 single barrels, and the average age is around 12 years. So definitely something unique. Doug also shared with me our members last night, if anybody was on that call, that Whistle Pig is going to be releasing their first bourbon in the coming months, and it's going to be super limited. So keep an eye out for that. We're trying to get a few bottles for our restaurants, but
and how do we get hooked up with that? Don't tease us. How do we get it?
It sounds like you guys had Doug on before, so you'll just have to email him.
Gotta go to Eureka. Buy a pour.
He said it's super. Yeah, I followed up with them afterwards, and I think we're like as a brand, and we have a Whistle Pig cocktail on our menu, which obviously, if you know anything about the industry, having a cocktail on the menu definitely opens up doors. Yes, Alyssa or Eliza, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Red Hots is for sure. Like, I put cinnamon candy on my tasting notes for this one to avoid any copyright infringements, but definitely a big Red Hots note on the palate here. Yeah, but anyways, we hopefully are going to get a bottle or two of the limited release bourbon. So this pick was super unique to me. It's the first rye we've done, I think, all year. And yeah, so my notes were on the nose. I get maple, a little bit of like pit smoke, like barbecue smoke, orange zest, a little fresh cut grass, and then oak. And then like Alyssa said, I get a huge red hot thing right on the front palate, like right away.
And this would be a
little bit of caramel in the middle.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'll make a great old fashioned because it's not as sweet as the others. So,
I gotta tell you, I would not doctrinate this to with nothing. I would be drinking this all by itself.
I have to try at least
one
once. Right.
This one, I would be drinking it all by itself, but I'm a rye fan.
Well, great pickup on the palate on that red hot note. This month we did feature it in a smaller bottle. It was a 375 ml, and it was barrel proof, so the yield was obviously a little bit less. But we did, like Jordan, I was telling Jordan was saying earlier, like we did make up for the fact that there was a smaller bottle, and this box actually, like I said, ended up costing us a little bit more because of all the extra items. Like we put a Glencairn glass, we put a rocks glass, we put 2 piggyback 50 mLs in there. I'm trying to find it. And we got a lot of great feedback on this, but I think
Whistle Pig makes a airplane size hotel size little bottle.
Yeah.
The piggyback.
Oh, they make them all in that size.
I want
Jordan. Show off your.
We had those, didn't we?
I have the 15, 12.
Or I must have poured it and just drank
Jordan has the entire Whistle Pig collection in minis.
Yeah, I have 15, 12, 10, and the 6.
Trevor, if I came out to Woodland Hills this weekend, could I get a bottle of this?
Unfortunately not. All the bottles of this were for Woodland Hills were Jane has a bottle though. She's teasing you. I'm sorry.
So just go to Jane's house and take it from her. She's
That's a
offering.
mini. It's a 10-year-old mini.
All the bottles we got were put into the boxes. So
I also got 2 chocolate covered bacons and a
yeah, you should have got 2. The
Yeah, I got
jalapeno
2.
and the regular one.
Yeah.
Jordan, what can I trade? Jordan, what can I trade?
Oh, gone. You know he
They're
ate the
gone. They don't
He's a bad
exist.
Jew.
It's super good.
I didn't get a chocolate covered
You can't
bacon.
eat the. Hey, Mr. Blumenfeld, you can't eat the bacon. I'll take the bacon.
I could eat it. Trevor, which restaurant are you at? I missed that. I'm sorry.
So I do the bar program for all the restaurants. So I'm at all the restaurants. Technically, I travel around and
The
one I'm
dude who hands out a Hawthorne is a super nice dude. Just whoever that guy is, I never get his name, but just like
Lauren.
your
I
staff's
think
always
it's Lauren.
yeah. Your staff's always been really cool, and that dude's always been really nice all through COVID throughout. Even when there's been a line that I can recognize and let in. So just like guys in Hawthorne, you can give them a pat on the back. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm actually in Hawthorne because our corporate office is upstairs. So that's where I was based out of, the majority of the time pre-COVID, but with COVID and stuff, I've been at home most of the time. Favorite expression of the night. But yeah, thank you. I will tell Lauren, I see him quite often. I'll be in Hawthorne tomorrow for some meetings, and I'll tell him you said that. We actually Hawthorne, I mean, not that anybody needs to know this, but Hawthorne has been one of the busier restaurants since things opened back up, and we've been setting some sales records there recently. And I was fortunate enough to give the management team there each a bottle of our Blanton's barrel pick. We had some extras, and yeah, but it's a super good team there. So thank you for recognizing that.
For sure.
I don't even know I can't vote on this, Vadim. It's like picking I only have one child. I just had my first baby, but I can't, if I had multiple children, I don't think I could choose a favorite.
Your favorite one of tonight.
You can guess what we thought was the best.
Yeah, when we're done voting, got another 10 more.
Man, that was a hard choice. I'm just gonna say that was a very hard choice. Because
Yeah,
I'm
not
afraid
easy.
I'm afraid of Vadim pulling the poll down while I'm still holding both classes and trying to figure it out. So I
We
just
know
made a gut
what
choice,
Alyssa thought was.
Just go with your gut. But it's funny, Trevor, I can't believe Brian hasn't asked this, but we love these picks at cast strength. And this, I mean, notably.
Posted it 50 times in the chat.
Oh, did you like
I was
cast
trying
strength?
to be.
Any more plans for more cast?
Trevor, we need some cast strength picks. Although the last 2 are cast strength, but
So next month is not cast strength. Sorry, Brian. The problem with cast strength,
Okay,
obviously,
can't
we
count
get
them
a lower yield. We have to order more barrels, right? If they're not proofing it down.
Right.
So it's hard to get the cast strength and still get the yield. We are I believe the wild turkey pick, I believe, is going to be at cast strength. Don't hold me to that. I'm pretty confident that it is, if I'm remembering correctly. But I think that right now, and then we're doing the 1792 foolproof later in the year. Obviously not at cast strength because everything is bottled at the same proof, but it's a higher proof. We're doing a pinhook feature that will be at a higher proof. That is not going to be a barrel pick, but it will be a limited release of one of their higher proof bourbons. And I think that's at 119.9 proof. So some higher proof whiskeys coming to you, Brian.
All right. I'll watch everyone else enjoy them.
Where are you based out of?
I'm near Century City, but every time I try to
email me, we'll figure it out.
All right.
I'm gonna email you too.
You shouldn't have said that.
I'll try. I can't make any guarantees, but I post. If you go up in the chat, my email's there, so I'll try to do my best.
Which should I start with, the Applewood smoked chalk covered bacon or the jalapeno seasoned? Applewood, right?
You really had to
go
go
with the
there.
jalapeno.
You really,
Jalapeno.
dude,
Save
you
the
really
apple
had to
when I
just
come over.
drag it in our face.
This bacon is excellent with the jalapeno.
Yeah, eat the jalapeno. Save the regular for me.
This is good.
Do
yeah,
I
I
need,
mean, like, so, like,
do I need
like I
a,
said, I mean,
oh, I'm sorry.
like, we really try hard to pick like cool snacks. Like some people like throw it away and they're just not literally throw it away. They're just like, oh yeah, this is just a food thing that they have to put in there. But like we could easily just throw in some shitty snack and like not care about it. But like I really tried hard to find cool, unique things. Because it's a discovery box. Like that's if anybody takes anything away from this call, you know, obviously the whiskey's great, but like the box and all the other items in the box, like we put a lot of work and a lot of thought into the snacks and the swag and the cards, like the, you know, the tasting notes, like there's a lot of effort that goes into this. So I'm happy that everyone likes the whiskey, but the other items in the box are definitely things that we put a lot of thought into as well.
You guys had some sort of like butterscotch candy from Austin. It was it was like a little chewy candy from Austin, from a small company.
Oh yeah, those are good. Yeah,
shit, that was ridiculous. That was amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, no,
we appreciate them as consumers. I appreciate it.
We had like a caramel corn from in the Michter's box too, and we did like in the Michter's box. So like I recognized that bottle was more readily available, so we put like a huge bag of caramel corn in there, and then we had like a Michter's barrel aged coffee that was in that box as well. That a lot of people sent positive feedback on. So yeah, it's cool to hear that. Like I said, I mean, it's just been a passion project of mine. It's been a light during a very hard year for our industry, and it's just something that has brought me joy. And doing this and just talking to people, you know, I've been in the hospitality industry since I was 16 years old, and this is what I live for. This is
COVID definitely, you know, shook the hospitality industry to the core. And so
yes, it did.
We're happy to be able to support the restaurants and the bars that are, you know,
so quick question. Is the Hawthorne Airport location on the civilian side of TSA?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's outside.
You know, all right.
Yeah, I don't think it's a private airport, so I don't know what the security looks. I don't think there's any TSA.
But you have to fight all the SpaceXers to get in though.
Yes. SpaceX probably accounts for a good 80% of our business. When they used to do when they did like the launches there, if the launch was successful, we were always slow because I think they had like, I don't know what the program was, but I think if the launch was successful, they always had like their own party at SpaceX. But if the launch wasn't successful, they didn't have a party, and then they'd all come and drink at Eureka. So not to say that I crossed my fingers hoping that SpaceX launches wouldn't be successful, but it always was an interesting time to
Elon mad and send everybody home.
Where's Kevin for this? Where's Kevin? Jordan, ping Kevin.
He missed this one, but yeah, Kevin. He said SpaceX calls Eureka SpaceX North. He said he goes there like 3 times a week. He's in the group too, the whiskey club also.
Oh, Mystery Man said there was a conference room called SpaceX North. So apparently Mystery Man works at SpaceX.
There you go. So we everybody voted on closing the poll, and this is gonna be a fun one. Trevor, what do you think was the favorite for this group?
Oh, I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say the Eagle Rare.
I mean, shouldn't it be Weller Foolproof? That's the, for lack of a better term, that's the bigger tater bottle. That's the one everybody wanted to try.
Whistle Pig.
I did not vote for the Weller Foolproof, if I'm being quite honest with you, but yeah, I mean that's the one that we got the most hype around.
Yeah.
Whistle Pig had a lot of feedback too.
It's interesting how much backlash you got on it. Speaking of which, before I show the results of this poll, so the Whistle Pig came out this month, and that was so everybody knows the box is $75 every month. You get a bottle of American whiskey, right? And you get stuff in the box besides the bottle. And so every time before that was at least a 750. There was 1 month where it was like 2 bottles that were 750s. This month comes out, it's a cast strength Whistle Pig 10-year-old, but it's a 375 because retail for a Whistle Pig 10-year-old cast strength is $90, right? And so a million people are like, oh, I'm disappointed. I got ripped off, blah, blah, blah. And you
Before they even tried it, before they saw the box,
before they even got the
tried
box, they're like, oh, I heard it's a 375. That's such bullshit. I'm like, wait till you get the box. And then they get the box and there's another 100 mil in there of the set of the piggyback, whatever. Anyone here think that it's not a good value for $75? You got 2 minis, a 375. Show of hands who thinks it is a good value. You guys are $75 worth.
I didn't get it, but I'm voting.
And the rocks glass is rad. It's like the rocks glass is like a sphere and then a diamond base. It's a rad little glass.
And I would add to that too that I've got a Whistle Pig store pick, and I poured a glass of it to compare, and your pick smokes the one that I got. So nice job.
This will primer everyone for our Whistle Pig when it comes out in about a month. But all right, so you said Eagle Rare is the winner, and David Donahue said Whistle Pig.
That's my guess. I don't
I'm
know.
saying Whistle Pig.
All right, drum roll. You're both right. All of your picks are balls.
Ooh, what?
Three-way tie.
It's a 3-way tie.
Wow.
I don't think I've ever seen 6 bottles be
revote.
evenly.
It's never
spread
been
out.
like that. No, it's
Usually
never been
there's
that.
I mean, maybe
Maybe
1 or 2, but this is clearly you are doing a good job with these picks, Trevor. So
That's when you know they all good.
thank you.
I gotta say that Whistle Pig was my first. Eagle Rare was totally my second top pick. I would have, if I had to pick, if I could pick 2 tops, that Eagle Rare, really, really another amazing.
And I don't want to hype this up too much because I don't want there to be people disappointed, but like
Trevor said,
Wild Turkey, I just poured myself a little bit of this, and I'm sorry no one's tasting this right now, but the Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit pick that we have coming out is just,
Wait,
I'm sorry, I like it better than it. I like it better than everything we tasted tonight. I'm just throwing it out.
It is, or it is better.
I everything we tasted tonight. I obviously like
is exceptional,
but this Wild Turkey pick to me is just
right. Well,
sounds like some wild turkey.
And to correct Vadim for the record, if memory serves,
we got to try that.
The Eagle Rare was 750, but the Buffalo Trace was a 1 liter, and that was
correct.
in 1 box together.
In 1 box together, we put Eagle Rare 750, Buffalo Trace 1 liter, both barrel picks, $75.
Yep.
Wow,
nice. That's a good month.
And then there's Blanton's the next month.
I'd love to join.
How do I get signed up again?
Where's that email address?
We have 1,700 members that would like to become part of
Just go back to November, and when everyone's shitting on it, go, you know what? I'm going to take a risk because it's going to get better. And
I don't think anybody shit on it.
Oh, you
did they really shit on? When were complaining? You were complaining. You were complaining pretty hard.
Read quite a few harsh comments.
He has screamers delivered by owl to his house.
You can ask my wife about
his Harry Potter joke, Vadim.
Thank you. By the way, for somebody who pointed out,
he called me a nerd.
For posterity's sake, for the replay, the results of the poll were equal votes for Eagle Rare, Blanton's, and Whistle Pig as top, and that was 6 votes each. 4 votes for Elijah Craig and 4 votes for Weller Foolproof, and then 2 for Buffalo Trace. So essentially everything's in the running, but the winners were tied for first place: Eagle Rare, Blanton's, Whistle Pig. Second place tied Elijah Craig and Weller Foolproof, and third by close margin was Buffalo Trace. Continue.
Which goes to the to accolades to and compliments to Trevor for his work and providing these barrel picks, because they are exceptional. And I've said it before, it's like I really have enjoyed tasting through different suppliers at one virtual tasting. It's been really fun.
Yeah, Trevor and I have been planning this one for a few months, and we're excited. That was one of the things.
Yeah,
we
my wife
wanted
was
to do.
like, my wife said, she's like, why are you doing this call to promote a club that people can't even join? And I said,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Vadim and I started working on this back in January, like planning this.
But this is what you want, isn't it? You want to have some
Building
buzz
more
around
hype.
it.
Build more
Something
hype.
that's more exclusive. If it's exclusive and you can't get it, it's kind of equates it to being what? Allocated. So I'm sorry. We're all
We're
about
just
trying to
telling-
chase
we're
the
telling
allocation.
people
My
to
wife was
drop
like, you're
out.
gonna make people
So
mad.
Trevor, but that's okay because well, not everybody here is a tater that's going to be standing in line outside of the Costco for 2 hours on, at 5:30.
Depends what they have.
Well, that's why we're building a relationship with Trevor and
So we'll stand
Eureka.
outside Eureka at 5 o'clock in the morning instead.
It's going to be kind of crazy. Hey, one
funny story, really quick. I did have someone message me standing outside of Eureka. I think we announced that we had like a sale going on at like 2 o'clock one day, and someone messaged me at like 6 a.m. and they said, hey, I'm standing outside and I just want to make sure that I can buy the membership in person. And I was like, I'm sorry, it's an online sale. We're not.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry you
no
got there at 6 a.m. But nothing is being sold at the restaurant.
Yeah. Welcome to the taterdom. It's going to be crazy. Trevor and everybody else, I just want to make a brief introduction. We do have the owner and creator of Neve Ice on the call with us, Michelle. So say hi, Michelle.
How are you guys?
Ooh. Hey, Michelle.
Hi,
This is the
Michelle.
first time I think Michelle's ever been on a virtual tasting, and I kind of called him and thank you for muting me, Vadim. I appreciate that.
Big fan.
But several are big fans. Jordan, we have Amanda and Lori, and a lot of us a bunch of us are huge fans of what you've been doing for as long as you've been doing it, and thank you for providing it in the Los Angeles area. We were giving you a plug to Trevor, so Trevor has just a few restaurants around, but anyway, we are huge fans of it.
Is it true that there's going to be Neve Ice in our next sample kit? No, it's a rumor. That was just a rumor. Or was it in the last one, but I just left it outside too long?
Exactly. Yeah. It was
All right.
there. It was included. Everybody
was-
got an ice
okay.
cube in their kit.
Wasn't sure. Sorry. It looked good.
Jordan dropped off to you last just to make sure it melted.
I took a picture of it, but you couldn't see it because it was so clear.
The puddle of water was awesome.
No, those are my pictures where you can't see it. There's like an ice cube in there. It's like, yeah, there is.
Pictures are always great. We really appreciate them. They're beautiful pictures and they're beautiful cocktails too. Like all of you make amazing cocktails. Just to look at the pictures is really a lot of fun.
Yeah. So thank you, Lori, and thank you, Amanda, for doing those, and Jordan. So anyway, enough for my plugging the fact that I'm such a massive fan of Neve Ice and that they have changed my drinking game. So anyway, that was it. Thank you, Michelle.
Trevor, thank you for these awesome picks. These have been absolutely fantastic. It's so rare that essentially they're all tied. I mean, some people prefer one over the other, but this speaks volumes to you doing a good job picking, right? There wasn't a bad one in the bunch. All of them got some love. I thought the Whistle Pig was absolutely fantastic. Each one of them has a place at somebody's bar. And as we discussed tonight, your selection, your boxes that you cater, that you put together are absolutely worth the value. And we applaud you. We thank you for your contribution to the industry and everything. Justin, do you raise your hand? No? All right. Well, on that note, I want to say thank you so much, Trevor. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you helping to put this together. Cheers to you.
Yeah, we couldn't. I mean, just if I can say one last thing is it was so fun revisiting the past 6 months. Like I'm just thankful for the opportunity to revisit all these whiskeys and talk to a bunch of people that just have a passion for the spirit. And again, I'm repeating myself, but I've tried to be as transparent as possible. this whole time with this club, and I'm just a guy who likes whiskey that has a platform, and I'm trying my best to bring this amazing spirit to everyone that loves it and introduce people to it. And that's been my goal since day one of this club, of my job, of just pretty much everything I do. And I can't thank you enough for just giving me the platform to talk about my passion. And I hope that if you haven't been to a Eureka, I mean, come check us out. We have a great whiskey list. If you can't get part of the club, I'm sorry. I wish we could have more memberships, and but we have an amazing whiskey list just at the restaurant. And
do you carry these barrel picks at the restaurant?
No, not all of them, because they're, like I said, 1,200 members. We can only order a certain amount of barrels, and they all go to the club. But like I said earlier, I mean, things like I can't guarantee it, but like more often than not, our Buffalo Trace and our Well is a barrel pick. We do have restaurants that still have some Eagle Rare barrel picks, but I don't know which restaurants have what. But all the barrel picks have pretty much been allocated to this club. There are a few restaurants that still have some of the Laws barrel picks that they're pouring, just because we didn't have as much hype around the club back then, so we didn't sell all those bottles.
Makes sense.
But
are all your locations corporate, or are you guys a franchise?
No, all our locations are owned by. We did take a private investor on a couple years ago, but the same guys that opened it back in 2009 are still very heavily involved. I see them regularly. Like I said, I started when we had 3 restaurants. Celebrating my 10-year anniversary actually this week with the company. And we're not franchised, we're privately owned.
Gotcha.
And then I know a couple months ago there was an offer that if we remember, we could buy previous ones. Is that still available if you have like the Laws or something, or is that no longer available?
That was just with the Laws, because like I said, the hype around the membership wasn't as, we didn't have as I don't know how to politely say it, but we there wasn't as much interest in the club at that point, so we didn't sell all that. So we did sell some of the Laws to outside members, but we're not doing that anymore.
No, I mean inside members. Like, wasn't there a thing that if I am a member, I could buy a previous one if you still have it, or is that no longer the deal?
It's no longer the thing, because we're selling everything that we have to members.
And so I had another question, since we have you on the call and it's so rare. So 2 things. One, throughout the tasting, I think you pointed out that obviously there's an issue with some members that have tried to buy in, and they buy a membership at a location that's less convenient to them, right? Members in LA buying something in Santa Barbara or vice versa.
Yeah.
You said you can't move it in the middle of the month, but if somebody were to email you, can they arrange to have their membership moved to a different location moving forward?
So the way we're working it now is that we don't allow duplicate membership, but if you are able to buy it at a restaurant, so if you have a membership in, let's say, Carlsbad, and you want to move it to, I don't know, Claremont, you can, when the membership's open in Claremont, you can buy a membership there and then email our guest services account and say, hey, I bought a membership here, I want to cancel this other membership. We are allowing that. But you have to secure the new membership before we cancel the old membership. And then we'll open up a spot in the area that you had the old membership. So again, this is all, it's 2 people running this entire program. I apologize that it's not the most sophisticated like system to log in and order from. It's just there's some growing pains, and the club has grown much quicker than what we anticipated, and we're trying to make it more user friendly, but there have been some growing pains with the Shopify and the adding to cart and getting hey, I got a membership, but then it said it was canceled. So I can't apologize enough, but there have been some growing pains.
Yeah, I just wanted
I
to,
can appreciate that.
clarify the point for anyone who was asking, because it's not often you get the man running everything behind the scenes on a call. So if anyone has any questions, this is the moment.
Yeah, and I posted my email, on the chat for anybody. Again, we have 25 restaurants, but we're still a pretty small company when it comes to just the general overview. So I'm more than happy to talk to people if you have any questions or follow up things about the club or have any issues. I can't guarantee that if you send me an email, I'm going to get you into the club. But I'll try my best to help anybody out that needs anything.
For sure. And then
the process that Trevor was talking about is what I went through. I started in Carlsbad because that was all that was open last year, whenever it started, and then was able to get into Huntington Beach and then cancel the other one. It was a real easy process. So if you're fortunate enough to get into another one, it took 2 emails and it was done.
Yeah, just don't tell me you're a Giants fan like Craig, because I probably would have said no.
Well, I didn't tell him. I didn't tell you until after, Trevor. I didn't tell you until after you sent me my extra julep cup. I don't know if you remember that. Mine was the one that got damaged.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
so I had to wait till that came before I mentioned it.
Got it.
Trevor,
First place
congratulations
Giants, right?
on
You
your
guys are
success.
best record in baseball from last I checked. So.
Right.
For sure.
Hey, Trevor.
Go ahead.
Hey, any chance you could repost that email? I joined a bit late because I had bedtime for my kids, and I've been trying for a few months to get in, and yeah, would love to see if I can get hooked up. Awesome. Thank you very much, sir.
And then if we wanted to set up a bottle share at one of your locations, would you be able to help me out with that?
So we cannot allow people to bring in liquor bottles to open up in the restaurant. So a bottle share would not be possible.
Fair enough.
I know there's other bars and restaurants that maybe have more loose interpretations of certain laws, but we try to stick to the book, and outside bottles brought into the restaurant to open are something we don't allow.
What is the closest location to the San Fernando Valley?
Woodland Hills.
Oh, well, I would then add to what Vadim kind of that question that he posed is like, would you do a special whiskey bourbon themed event for our group?
Yeah, no, that's definitely something we're looking at. We're looking at doing in-person events for our members. But yeah, no, I think that's definitely something we can chat about offline. I mean, this working with Vadim and is just been, and I appreciate Vadim's patience because he kept emailing me about the bottles, and sometimes I was not quick to respond, but we made it all work, and I think we can definitely do something in person in the future. So
that's kind of what one of the things that the board of directors and the founders kind of did this for, is just for the fun and to get together and for the events. It doesn't necessarily need to be a bottle share. It could just be a get together of like-minded people that are into whiskeys, bourbons, doesn't matter, mezcals, tequilas, and have some good food and a good environment with people that kind of appreciate it and know about it. We are here to be able to support that. Just let us know.
No, that's great. Yeah. I hope this is the beginning of a good relationship between us and this club.
I think it will be. And so I'm looking forward to it. That's why I want to kind of give a little bit more clarity, because, if there's an event, I know that Philip Dopard and they're doing this thing with the Culinary Center. They're doing certain events around LA, and they've been doing a really great job. But I think that just listening to and hearing you talk about what your program is, I know that you all would be able to do a really nice event. It doesn't matter whether it's in Woodland Hills or it's another one of your things where you could put it out to groups like ours or the Orange County, Bourbon Society, or just folks like us that really want to kind of nerd out and have some fun and drink some good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here in Fullerton, so I've been an LA native my entire life, and I just moved to Orange County, and it's kind of weird for me, but happy to do an event either in LA or OC.
That would be fantastic. And thank you again for all of your time and all the work that you put into these things. It's really appreciated.
And if anyone needs Trevor's home address, just to knock on his door and ask for a kit, let me know. I got you. I'm easily bribed.
A barrel? We just want an empty barrel. We don't give them away all to the. I can't imagine all the breweries are going to use all of them. So yeah, we want some.
Or when they're done with the
decoration.
barrel, we'll take it.
I'm sending 8 of all the wild turkey barrels I got. I'm sending to the brewery in Placentia, if anybody's familiar with that. And we're going to do, they're famous for like their Black Tuesday releases. So we're going to do some type of imperial stout aged in those wild turkey barrels that I'm super excited about. So the whiskey will be released through the club in a few months, and then hopefully the beer will be ready in early 2022.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you very much for everything, for spending the evening with us. I know you got a newborn there, so we want to be respectful every time. By no means am I kicking anybody off. You're welcome to come hang out, to stay and have another dram. And if Trevor wants to stick around, he can. But I do want to give you the option to log off if you need to. So we want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Thank you for coming and hanging out, and asking questions, and joining us and getting nerdy. Next event goes live on Saturday at 10, as it always does. And that, cheers, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers, everyone. Have a good night. I'm going to hop off. Have a good one.